Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the October 16th meeting of the Bellingham Select Board. As is our policy, I invite you to rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Can't tell you how many times I've been in athletic events, and off the top of my head, I announced that we're going to do the national anthem, and sometimes I want to do that here.
That would not be a good thing.
So it is with great pleasure that I tackle the first item on the agenda. Let's just jump into it. Dennis Frayne, our current town administrator, is here to have a discussion and appreciation with the board. And if you want to take an hour, you can have an hour, Dennis.
Well, I'll sit next to that.
That'd be great.
And
No, I'm not.
I can't give it to anyone.
They might stop finding questions that. No.
So before I turn it over to you, if I could share a story.
Okay.
I've played a lot of golf with Dennis, and this room is named the Wilfred Arcand Meeting Room. And 35 years ago,
When I was appointed,
when you interviewed with him,
36.
36 years ago, he interviewed after a stint in the Air Force and finishing school, and it was a 3-member board.
3 members were interviewing.
3
5
members
member
were-
board, yeah.
Thank you. All right. See, I pay more attention to your
That's
golf
okay.
game than
Yeah.
the stories you tell me. And in that interview, Wilfred Arcand, for whom this room is named, said, "I don't care who else you want to hire. I want to hire the kid."
Yeah.
And the kid is here for his last select board meeting in official capacity.
Yeah, now I'm the old man. No, it's been 6 months since I was here. It seems like yesterday. As you know, I had a very sudden illness. I was feeling great, and one day and the next day I was very sick, and it resulted in 3 months in the hospital, and I don't have a lot of memory of the earlier events, but what I do have a good memory of is that my kids taking care of me and telling me how much support they were getting from Beth and from the board. And I want you to know how much I appreciate that, not just for me, but from my kids and my family. It meant an awful lot. And the texts and emails, cards and letters and phone calls that I received over the summer, it was just incredible. I won't say I was surprised, but I'll say I'm proud to be a part of this community, because people don't forget you, and that really meant a lot to me. And I officially retire. I was appointed December of 1987, and I officially retire on Friday. So I'll be amongst the ranks of the retirees on Friday. And I wanted to come in and thank all of you, and thank all the people that I've worked with in town. It's just been, I love working here. I never took a lot of time off, and people say, "Geez, why don't you take an extra week's vacation? You got the time for this and that." I like coming to work. I enjoyed working with the people here, and I always lived near the town hall, not too far away, and I enjoyed bumping into people and having them ask me questions. What about this and what about that? And I enjoyed the relationships that I had with so many select board members over the years. It was a wonderful time. And really, I appreciate everything that I've gotten out of this position. I tried to give as much as I possibly could to it, and I'm very proud of a lot of things that we've gotten done. And coming back to town after being away for a few months, it's incredible. South Main Street looks great. In front of the town center looks great. I know for 2 years, 3 years, we were talking about succession planning. We got it all right, and I kind of left behind. But I know we got a new chief and a new police chief and a new fire chief, and of course the DPW director, and I know the CFO vacancy occurred after I had left, and you've done great work getting that taken care of, and hopefully you'll have that filled this evening, I guess. So and I love that Lindsay moved up to the treasurer collector's office. I've known Lindsay my whole life. I knew her when she was just a year or two old. So it's great to see somebody from town get into a position like that. I know she lives in Uxbridge now, but she'll always, in my mind, be the little girl riding a tricycle through the neighborhood down in Green Acres. So That's it. I don't want to get to story time. I just wanted to come in and really express my appreciation to the board. All the people I work with here, the fire, the police, DPW, and of course the people in this building. I loved it and I've had a great time. And I'll be throwing my hat in for different vacant positions. So you'll see me coming in, trying to get on different boards and committees because I know how hard it is to fill those positions. And we've always said, you know, if there's anyone out there that wants to come in and serve and you know, I want to stay in touch and I want to stay involved. And I certainly will. So that's it.
We're
Thank
not
you
gonna let
very
you go
much.
that quickly.
Yeah, okay.
So we like stories, so.
All right, well, I thought about this long and hard and I thought of everyone here. I think other than Beth, maybe, I've worked with you the longest. I think we had 23 years together, 12 years on the selectmen and then 11 years as the town clerk. And I probably have a lot of stories that we could really never tell anybody, but
Yeah.
I mean, you were the person who guided me as a selectman when I first got on board and you always listened to me. You never dismissed me, ever, ever, ever. And you, even with my wild ideas, you would say, okay, Ann, you know, I don't think that one's gonna work, you know, but you would never, but I think, I was telling him, I said, I think my favorite story is when we had started the pumpkin stroll, Kathy, Zep and I, and we came to you and you just looked at me kind of like, oh my God, here she goes again. But you stayed with it and you guided us to get everything done that we had to get done to do it. And so it started through the years. And I remember one Saturday I went down at noon time and I get down to the common and lo and behold, hadn't it snowed? And I'm standing there going, oh my God, I don't even own a shovel. What am I gonna do here? And I'm panicking and people are gonna bring their pumpkins. And so I called you in my usual panic state and I went, it snowed, I don't have a shovel. And you said, oh, okay, I'll be there. And so I'm thinking you're coming with the DPW workers and they're gonna shovel the sidewalk, but no, Dennis showed up all by himself with a shovel. And I'm looking at him like, oh my God, where is the army behind you? And there was no army. You said, that's 4 hours, and I'd have to pay them. We'll do it ourselves. And I'm like, what?
Everybody know how cheap I am.
And I was dying. I was like, "Oh," but you did it. And I don't remember if you even brought 2 shovels, but I remember you shoveled that sidewalk. And that's probably my most favorite show because it showed how much you cared about everything. Every event that went on, no matter what it was, you were there and you participated. And every year you came to my pumpkin stroll. And of course, I watched Sarah and Andrew come into the pumpkin stroll and I watched Sarah come in with the kids. And so through the years, we've watched everybody come with their families and it's fun. It was always fun, you know, so that's my favorite story of Dennis, the shovel.
The first year you did the pumpkin, so I said, how you getting these pumpkins out of here? And he said, I don't know. I loaded them all into my truck. Took them over to the.
Yeah, we brought them up.
brought 'em over here.
I was like, I don't know, how do you get them out of here? But we had a lot of fun with a lot of different things, so I'm gonna miss you, you know, being back again. I'm gonna miss not working with you again, but I'm glad you're gonna be around because people love having you around. I've always loved it, 23 years, and we had the best time ever.
You
So,
did.
We did.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
I can just say, as the newest member of the board and only working with you for a very short period of time. I think the term is irreplaceable. That I've learned in my very short time working with you and, you know, being in public service for 5 years, I can only hope to achieve what you achieved with the 35 years of service. Whoever takes over for you has some tremendous shoes to fill. And I can say, you know, learning about you, you know, getting out of the service, you know, as a captain, I think is what I read, and you know, coming right here, you don't see that happening anymore. And it speaks volumes to you, and I'm glad you're gonna, you know, stick around. I hope, like you said to me a few times before you got sick, one of the boards you wanted to get on, I'd love to see you get on that board and get things going the right way.
Okay. There'll be a few boards I like, yeah.
We have to interview him.
Dennis, I always looked up to you with the gentleman who has the knowledge, know-how, wisdom, and all the experience in the world. And over the years, when I came in Bali for even little things, and how about this, how about that, you always had the answers for it. And that's something hard to come by. And the things you have done in town, the tremendously, helping people out, it's undescribable. And I don't think, that we cannot thank you enough for it, the things you have done for our community over the years. And still gonna come and bother you now and then,
Anytime.
but it's other than that, I don't think we can thank you enough. Thanks for everything you have done,
Thank you.
appreciate it.
So, my final
I'm
thoughts.
worried about your final thought.
Well, my final thoughts on everything that you accomplished. I mean, your tenure predates the town common when it was all Max. Home Depot wasn't here, Walmart wasn't here.
Yeah.
Blackstone Street was woods before we had a police station, a fire station, a senior center, a high school, the power plants. And through all of it, you probably put up with 80 to 100 members of the select board. And I don't think of you as a town administrator, I think of you as a friend, so I'll leave it at that.
All right, thanks, man.
Thank you. And with that,
Somebody out there might-
anyone have any last minute thoughts? Mr. Hamway, I guess is, since you're gonna write about him, you might as well talk about him.
Yeah, the December Bellingham bulletin will feature Dennis Frayne. But I just want to say, when I retired from full-time journalism in 2008, and I heard about the tax work-off program, I said, gee, that's great. To lower the real estate taxes and but, I didn't know what I was going to do, but I went to the schools and asked the superintendent or the principal, whoever it was, that I'd like to help in the English department, work with a teacher or two, or the department head, and maybe teach kids how to write a good story or a good essay, at least improve on what they're learning. And I just felt 35 years in journalism that I had something to offer. Well, I don't know whether it was a teachers union or what the reason was, but it never materialized. Dennis saw me in the parking lot out back one day going in to pay a bill. And he says, how's it going? I says, well, I just retired from full-time journalism. I says, but I'm having trouble getting a tax work-off job with the town. The schools apparently aren't interested. And I'm not going to ask the library because I'm on the library board of trustees. And that wouldn't look too good in terms of ethics. So Dennis said right off the bat, why don't you come to work for me? And I says, really? Doing what? He says, well, I write a municipal column every month, but things are getting busy around here and I don't have that much time to do it anymore. You write for me, Pam Johnson, who then owned the Bulletin, get the story free, and you're gonna get $1,000 off on your real estate taxes. It's a win-win. And I served with Dennis, I've served working for him for 15 years. And the best part of Dennis Frayne is he's objective. If you've got an idea, it's not his way or the highway. He listens and he's very apt to side with you. If you have an idea, he's very objective and you don't know how valuable that asset is today. He also is like the gold standard for town officials as far as I'm concerned. High standards, high ethics, high character. And I'd like to make one suggestion. It may just fall apart right here. But why don't we name this building the Dennis Frayne? The Dennis Frayne Municipal Center.
Maybe a memorial when I'm talking.
The Dennis Frayne Municipal Center.
I never like that. I
know, he's-
people that live it.
Dennis goes for 15 great years.
No, I appreciate that.
15 great years with you and I collaborating on, and we're gonna do a story on Heidi. I just met her tonight.
Yeah.
The new town financial
See you.
operator. See you.
So,
See
you can
you.
pull papers for the open seat on the board.
No, I'm not ready. No, any rumors.
I heard that the town administrator position open.
But Dennis, thank you very much
All
for
right, thank
all
you.
you've done for this town and this
Yeah.
community.
Thanks for all your hard work over those years. We had some great articles. That one's gonna be in December, right?
Your story will be out in December.
That's the promo. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Dennis.
Dennis.
Okay.
So you're not staying the rest of the meeting?
I'll be right back.
No, I'm just talking.
No, he said he's not.
All right, well, we will move right along with some parts of the agenda. Because we had to require, advance notice of this meeting, we put discussion and vote on capital items request. I met with Beth and Tim to go over some of the capital items to get a starting point. And, unfortunately, we do not have our available cash. I have, that call that I got was from Mary McKinnon saying that she's working till very late tonight to call her after the meeting, but I asked for what would have been our ending fiscal 23 number, and the other more important number would be the excess growth over and above projections, because that would be the town meeting to amend Article 1. So that being the case, we cannot, so it's not prudent to discuss capital if we don't know how much money is available to spend. So with that, we will bypass discussion and vote on capital items request and move on to what is in the 8 o'clock hour. We're very much ahead of it because I anticipated 30 to 45 minutes discussion on capital. So with that, I will turn it over to Beth.
Heidi, why don't you come up here and take a seat of honor? Through much searching and fortunately some very good resumes and a nice outcome for our search for the CFO, we have offered to Heidi Chuckran, who is coming from Massachusetts, and she's going to start November 20th. I'd like the board to approve my recommendation. She comes from many years of service to towns, and I'm going to let Heidi do a little explanation of what she's doing and where she came from.
Floor is yours, Heidi, and welcome.
Hi, thank you. As Beth said, I'm the town accountant for the town of Mattapoisett. I've been there for 7 years. I do all of the books, the grants, Schedule A, tax rate recap, free cash. Prior to that, I was at the city of Brockton as the city auditor. I was in charge of a budget that was 450 million. IT, payroll, grants, very similar.
Any questions?
Any questions?
I can just say that the main selling point for me is just looking at your resume. It's the first time I've seen it. You are from the City of Champions, and my favorite athlete, Rocky Marciano. It's actually been on. Fun fact, I am named. My birth name is Rocky. So what there you go. That is a true story. But no, I just reading over everything. I have nothing. I just want welcome.
Thank you.
So our committee, for anyone listening, was consisted of myself, Sahan, John Petrin, Tim Iacardi, Beth, and Peter Morano. Yes, can't forget about Peter. And we had several candidates. Paradigm brought the list down to a shortened list. We interviewed the candidates from the shortened list, and I think the committee walked away with confidence that the job that you're doing now, albeit in a smaller town, is in line with what we have here. And your experience in Brockton is certainly larger than what we've done here. But what I saw is the roles in Brockton were very siloed, and the role at Brockton and Mattapoisett was all encompassing. And for that, the ability to step in. The reason for the November 20th start date is a little R&R and the required notification to your current employer.
Yes, yeah.
So we will hit the ground running
Yes.
November 20th, and we will see you at hopefully town meeting.
You're on vacation.
You're on
Yeah.
vacation? Okay.
Yeah.
We won't see
I'll
you
be
at town
in
meeting.
Florida.
Are you sure you don't want to switch?
See you
I
around.
know, go enjoy it.
So with that, I'll entertain a motion to appoint Heidi Chuckran
Chuckran.
as Bellingham's next chief financial officer.
So moved.
Second,
First and second, and any further discussion? Seeing none, hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none,
Welcome.
welcome. That's the
Thank you.
formality
Congratulations.
part of our meeting.
And I'd like to thank John for doing
Yes, thank you, John.
all the legwork and everything of doing this, so it's much appreciated.
Very good.
thanks, John.
Thank you.
Thank you, John.
And as you can see, I gave her capital book already.
So
You
good.
don't even hit the ground running.
So. Ron, you're gonna be sitting around for a little bit.
What's that?
You're gonna be sitting around with a few items. Okay. Next up, we have the Age and Dementia Friendly Task Force, Kay and other members of the senior group. Would like to come up and have a seat.
Does he want to grab a chair?
Oh, I'll just sit right behind.
Are you sure?
Okay.
She's our backup.
Okay.
Okay, Hillary, if we could just turn one or two microphones toward them, so if anyone,
We have a
Oh.
brand new microphone right here.
there you go.
Look at that.
Your efficiency exceptional.
We can be pretty loud too, if we have to be.
I've been told that well myself, but it doesn't always come across on the TV. Thank you.
Thank you for
Welcome.
having us. I'm Kay Page.
I'm Jim Fitzpatrick.
We are the co-chairs of the Age and Dementia Friendly Committee. We have formed a pretty interesting task force. We meet at the senior center because it's convenient, and because of the space. But it's a town-wide committee. We have leaders, town leaders. We have Father Realm from St. Clair's, town department heads have been invited, and Dennis Rain is on the committee, which
Good choice.
we're very happy. to
Somebody
have.
familiar with.
And very happy to
Yeah.
have him. We are here because we have the need for money.
Doesn't everybody?
That's why we're here. So we're looking for some money because we need to do one of the things that's required in order to be designated age and dementia friendly, and is a needs assessment. Needs assessment is only going to benefit the entire town because they will let us know the areas to focus on, tell us what's wrong, what we need to improve, what needs to be done. It's a year-long process. And the amount of money we're seeking is range between $30,000 and $40,000. We would like to be able to continue doing what we're doing, and in order to do that, we have to have the needs assessment. Any questions?
I'd just like to interject something. If something that's wrong with the town, we're not looking for anything that's wrong with the town. There's things that we don't even observe because we don't have to deal with it. So many times we've had people come to a store, but they have a walker, but there's no ramp for them to get up. It's too difficult to get up for them, so that business is gonna lose customer. You get to the door, and I don't know if you've ever tried to get through a door with the wheelchair. It's a chore. And with a walker, it's still very difficult. These are the things that you will go through your daily routine and never even notice in all likelihood. But these are the things that we need an assessment of everything possible that's gonna make life better for not just seniors, but everybody. And with a little luck, you're all gonna be seniors, and you're gonna need some of
That's
this.
pretty close.
I'm trying to be nice.
Then you're gonna love it.
So we have a committee that deals with ADA issues, but that's municipal based. So would this look at stores and in thinking about this, so if someone comes before us and they want a common victular restaurant license, it might be something that we would share with them that this is how they would set their restaurant up for access and
That's part of
private
it.
sector access, but what else is it doing for the individual? I mean, other than,
This is gonna include housing, communication, any transportation. After 4 o'clock in the afternoon, seniors have no way of getting through town. Unless they have, a ride.
yeah,
And this all started with communication. Somebody needed a burning permit and had to go online to do it. Our generation are not necessarily computer literate.
mhm,
I mean, we're good with on, we're good with off. So all that stuff in the middle, it creates a problem. And some people don't even have a computer.
Yeah.
So how do they access what you people do? How do we access, a burning permit or a building permit or something? We're not looking at one specific area. We're looking at everything that could possibly affect
is,
people.
sorry, before I-
No, go ahead, no, go ahead.
is there a model that has another town that could share, that we could just see what the end product is of a previous assessment in another town of similar size?
We have talked with a couple of towns that are in the process. But I'm sure we can get you that information.
I guess like something to measure, like what's the expected result? And then do we get the bang for the buck when we get ours?
And this is a relatively new proposal going on throughout the state. Yeah, we never heard of it until we had to hear about it.
Yeah.
And it makes sense. There are other towns that have already been approved for this, but they've had to go through the same procedures.
So is
Yeah,
that,
thanks for it.
yeah, so, I unfortunately, I work during the day, so I've yet to actually sit down at the senior center. But my office is in a senior center.
We'll forgive you.
It's all right, but is there a computer room and are you looking to like do classes at the senior center right now?
Technically, there isn't a computer room, but there is limited access to, we have a tech advisor, but it's mostly for phones.
Right, okay. So you, so like in the senior center, I work in a city, but we have like a huge computer room that the seniors go in and look at and
No, we don't.
is that something you'd like to see?
With a bigger building, yes.
Yeah.
But not in the current space.
You don't have room for it right now?
No.
But technology classes are part of this, yes. So we can host classes, we just can't
So-
set up a room permanently.
So like we have the Assabet students come down and it's as silly as it sounds, they do classes with the seniors.
That's what we do.
Exactly.
They're right.
It's
That's
called
what's
Tech
silly.
Connect, yeah,
Yeah.
Tech Connect. It's tomorrow at 1 o'clock if you want to join us. I think it's on Android tomorrow.
On the
Yeah, we have a topic
I
every.
got rid of my Android.
Yeah,
Yeah, please.
so Kate, if I recall when we had that meeting, one of the things you mentioned that this study is gonna be done by UMass.
Yes.
And so they are basically gonna look at it, like you said, transportation, housing, first responders. Like they're gonna do a whole detailed assessment and the amount of data is gonna be actually gonna provide it is gonna be so valuable for the town. And then we can actually, probably implement that some of that data gonna be presented to us, if I recall that.
Absolutely.
And also, and was that a little part was saying that this would actually kind of pave the way for the town and then we might able to receive more grants, particularly for the senior center or
Well,
so on?
it's
Did I
data.
recall that?
Yeah,
correctly?
it's data that we could use
Yeah.
to apply for grants in any department.
Yeah,
So the data that comes back to us, we can utilize those statistics.
yeah,
Because it's done by UMass Dartmouth,
Yeah.
it's a very official, the needs assessment is a very, and I don't think Bellingham's ever done one. Which a lot of towns do them on a regular basis, like every 10 years or so, so it's a powerful document that can give you some really good data for applying for grants. Doing improvements in different areas, school improvements, sidewalks, yeah, it's all kinds of, we can't know what we don't know unless we ask and look for the gaps.
so we can apply certain grant, maybe we might able to recoup that money later on beside, once we come up with the whole study.
Oh, for the needs
Yeah.
assessment itself, I don't know that we can.
Okay,
That I don't know.
okay,
The needs assessment, having needs assessment done enables us to be eligible for
Mhm.
funding and grants through AARP. And
okay.
it's something that, that you have to do in order to get to that point. Which is very clear. It is a town-wide, it's going to be very.
Yeah.
Very good for the town. I mean, it isn't just a senior center, it's a town-wide. They go through every aspect of the town. And study everything. It takes a year, and it's UMass Gerontology that does it. And they are currently doing one in the town of Plymouth.
So Plymouth is incredibly much larger than we are. So how would something like that be priced? I guess I'm trying to understand how they get to their pricing.
I'm sorry.
We tried to understand how to get to the pricing too, but we didn't receive calls back.
So all they told you was that it was.
But we've heard the
30 and
range.
40,000.
It ranges between $30,000 and $40,000 depending on the town that they're, yeah, so that's what we.
What do they base that on, like the size population?
We don't know.
You don't know,
what
you
they
don't know
base it
any of
on.
that, okay.
No,
But we can get information.
Yeah, I'd like
It'd
to,
be
it'd
beneficial.
be interesting to know how they come up with all
How they base
the.
it on.
Yeah.
Someone can come do a presentation.
Would UMass people present to the board?
I'd like them to present to me first.
Well, that's fine.
Or us, like,
Everyone can
they,
present to
yeah,
ourselves.
we're. They're not in the business of trying to sell their services. We gotta lock them down to get their service. It's. Yeah.
To use the coin the phrase, the cart before the horse.
Mhm.
I think we need more information to understand what we get from it. A sample of what they intend. I mean,
We can
well, I know
get,
it's a college student who put together a proposal and it's now being rolled out and they're trying to monetize it. And I think we're all ears if there's a need. I mean,
I think it's an interesting concept. I don't think I've ever, in all my years, I've never seen one done at all, not
Okay.
town-wide anyways.
We had for the Commission on Disability, they did.
Well, they did some, Amy did some.
No, this was years ago. A
Oh,
long
yeah, that would be
time ago.
the municipal, the sidewalks. I mean, we
Right.
just did the Harpen Street sidewalks and the handicapped access there, but I don't think it gets to the aging you
This is
mentioned.
much more,
Yeah.
this is more
Yes.
detailed.
More detailed.
Yep,
it's,
it's more down
And
to
it
it.
includes housing and transportation also.
Which I think that would be
So are you,
interesting, you know.
when you say housing, are you thinking of like a, like senior housing?
Yes, I'm thinking
Yeah,
like
Like
a
the housing authority?
depot court, rental manor type housing.
Okay,
So is the housing authority part of this too?
Only because I'm part of this group and I'm on the housing authority.
Oh, well, that's
So,
what I
yes.
used to know,
Yeah.
because I know that the
In
housing
the back end of
authority
it, yes.
has
Yeah.
has certain things going on too, so I want to make sure they're involved.
and the transportation is pretty interesting to me. Cause
Yeah.
it's something that is, I think is overlooked.
Yeah, very much so, you're right.
No, I think we don't have any services for the seniors after 4 o'clock, right? It's
Yeah, it's,
in
yeah.
case, you know,
8 to 4.
if they have an appointment, if they have some place to go, if they have, if you don't have a vehicle, if you don't have any kind of relative that who can take you places, you have no other options. So this study actually kind of will help, you know, it's or identify some of the needs maybe we never pay attention in the past, or maybe we didn't even think of it.
I never thought of it after
Yeah.
before either. to be honest with you.
And
Josie, do you have a ride program?
Do we have a what?
Like a ride like, I mean.
GATRA, we have GATRA,
Gotcha.
Greater Attleboro Transportation Authority, and it runs from 8 to 4, Monday through Friday.
And that's it? Will they stay with the person at the appointment and then bring them back to where they need to go?
They don't stay, they go off and do the next person's ride, and then the person, when they're done with their appointment, calls the senior center, we're like the dispatch.
Gotcha.
What is the duration of a survey and when was it proposed to start?
It takes a year.
It takes a year. It takes a full year to complete the survey through every aspect of the town, so that you'll know every little thing that's wrong, every little thing that you can focus on that needs to be improved. And you can then we take it from there.
Yeah.
You can take it from there and focus on what what is
Yeah.
important to us. to-
And you know, talk about the cart before the horse, like, we don't wanna do things in an
Yeah.
effort to become more agent dementia friendly if we don't have the data.
Yeah.
You know,
To do it.
helping to make the decisions of what to do.
And we don't want to concentrate on the wrong thing first.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. So I think the board needs more information as to the scope, the output, the cost and other things that would fall in line with the fiscal 25 budget. Because it probably would take you 3 or 4 months to get to that point, and then we would have to look at growth to fund it. Right now, we're looking at a multi-million-dollar shortfall in capital. That we were gonna take up tonight. And get armed with that information to discuss it either as part of your budget or an addendum to your budget. Or an added capital item. Just allocated, unless I'm reading our financial condition wrong.
No,
I think you got it right.
So the sooner we have that information, the sooner we can determine whether there are available funds from free cash. And when I say that, one of the items that we need to leave in our budget is enough surplus funds to cover snow and ice. So we budget about 300,000 for snow and ice, and our worst year has been upwards of $1 million. So if we leave 700,000 in our ending balance for free cash and only use 400,000 in March, we know that we're going to have extra cash. So it's not to say that it gets pushed to July 1 of 24 to cover the fiscal 25. But we certainly need to get through winter to know what our ending free cash would be projected to be.
So the sooner we can get that to you.
Well, that information gets the ball rolling, and it's
Yeah.
not something you have to do for our next meeting, but it is some information that needs to be gathered. All
So,
right,
did I hear you correctly? Do we need to put this in as a capital request?
no,
Okay.
but knowing capital is drawing on free cash.
Yeah.
And we're going to have in the neighborhood of $3 million in free cash, but we need 2.2 million for 2 fire engines. And we have in total somewhere in the neighborhood of $6 to $8 million in requests that are, some are deferrable and some need to come from stabilization. And some of it needs to go into people's budgets because they probably aren't capital requests anymore. I'll give you an example. We talked to the police department that if they need 2 cruisers every year, why are we putting it in capital? We should just have it as a line item in your budget. So there are some things that are coming about, having a new CFO and new department heads for DPW, police, fire, et cetera, that I think are going to change the dynamics of our budget process.
But if you have more info, we can definitely,
Well, I think we
Yeah.
accelerate.
Yeah.
If we have it, we
Yeah.
could take a vote earlier
Yeah.
if the money is available after the winter.
and also how do they, so once we get the exact dollar amount or breaking down in details, how we make that, so the process to get the ball rolling.
That work for everybody?
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for coming in tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Looking at the next items on the agenda, we didn't want to defer them because they were in the audience, but we can juggle up the 8 o'clock items and talk to John right now, so you can be on your way.
Okay. Sure.
So we are on,
You wanna do that the next one, all the seniors are here,
Signature.
that's one. we'll go.
oh, I'm sorry, yeah.
Sorry, John.
John, if you don't mind,
Sorry,
just
John.
before they leave.
Yeah,
just-
No, it wasn't,
Yeah.
the legislation update.
Yep,
So who can speak about this? I mean, I already know the answer, but senior tax workout program. Is there anyone in the audience or should I cover it or Sahan? The legislation, do you have
the
it?
legislation passing is basically you can get tax credit to up to $2,000.
Yeah.
So we were in discussion, obviously, and it's, so we get all the details. From our state rep and from his aide, from Mike Sorter and then Curtis. And I think we got all the information we need, am I right, Hillary? For that? And then next step will be Michael?
can present it and discuss if you want to vote tonight or.
Can we vote on it tonight or just,
Like,
How are we gonna vote on it if we don't have the money?
well,
I'm just saying,
my take on the situation. So we were one of the first towns in the state to adopt the senior tax workup and veterans.
No, I know that.
We
I
have a cap right
understand.
now of 1,500.
Right,
Yep.
We have allocated $135,000 to the program. If we go from 1,500 to 2,000. We have certain participants who can now earn $500 more. But we are limiting the pool of participants
right. we're not-
because we still have the cap of 135,000. And to increase it above 135,000, we simply don't have that in the budget. We could look to change next year's budget above the 135, but any dollar amount would go above 135 is cutting into free cash.
Right.
So if you want to vote to make the change from 1,500 to 2,000,
One, the plan or the program ends November 30th,
right?
so we wouldn't want to do it before
No,
December
the
1st.
town meeting, after the town meeting?
No, the year for
Okay.
senior work up is December 1st to November 30th.
Okay,
So if it were to go into effect, it would be December 1st of 23 to November of 24. It's not on a fiscal cycle, it's on an off cycle.
That's up to the pleasure of the board.
Yeah.
I think that if we were to go up to the 2,000, we'd have to stick with the 135 that we have in place now.
okay,
But I would be willing to look at increasing that budget.
Yep.
For the following,
so 2024?
for 2025.
So, yeah.
Fiscal
2025, and I had spoken to Betsy about it, and she had said, we had talked about it, and you know, to take the amount of people who are now in our tax work-off program and times 2,000, and even if you didn't use it all,
Yep.
it would still be there, and it would be a budget. It would be in the budget,
So
which is what we would have to do.
to give a perspective, we have roughly 80 people who took advantage of it.
Right.
And in fiscal 23, we were under the cap. We got 114,000. So I would prefer to put it on the December agenda,
Okay,
get a report as of or whenever it's available.
okay,
Get a report as of November 30th indicating how many people hit the 1,500.
Yep.
Whether we were short of the 135,000 and then make a decision because if no one, if only 5 people got to 1,500. Really doesn't matter if we go up to 2,000, it's how many people are utilizing it.
Correct.
okay,
So
I agree.
okay.
that works.
So
for
we'll
everyone?
revisit that in December, and then if it fits our budget and numbers, we'll make that adjustment accordingly.
Yeah,
and then-
keeping in mind that it would, at least part of it would be the fiscal 25, because we'd have July 1 and November 30.
And then our seniors can benefit that as soon as possible.
Good.
Sound good to everybody?
Yeah, I think that's the way to do it.
Perfect.
It's the veteran.
Thank you, John.
Good evening.
Good
Good
evening.
evening.
John,
Good to be
before
back
you
in
get
town.
started, I just want to mention that John came in to do an overview of the town administrator search and everything, as we all know. He did email me the resumes late this afternoon. And when I leave this meeting, I will be emailing them out to everyone. So
Okay,
I just figured that would be the simplest way to do it.
Okay, great. So at this point, we're ready we finished one search this evening, so congratulations on your hiring of, I think be a great CFO for, town of Bellingham. The next is the town administrator. So we've gone through the process and we're ready for next Monday. So we're scheduled for 4 o'clock next Monday for 4 interviews. So you have 4 finalists for the position. And I did forward to Beth, we finalized all the background checks, we've got 4 excellent candidates. At this point, the candidates are going to be, Sean Hendricks, who has been the town manager in the town of Millbury. Tim McInerney has been a town manager, last in the town of Grafton. Next is Steve Setti, who is the town manager of the town of Uxbridge. And Ari Sky, who's the town administrator in the town of Lakeville. So all four candidates have a significant background in the positions, all a little bit different career. A couple of, have been in municipal government a long time. One came from the private sector to municipal government, another was military to municipal government. So you have four candidates who bring, I think, a different discussion to the table. So it's going to be a discussion as to who you think is the best fit of the town going forward. So you'll get tonight from Beth, and also I think the questions went out from Hillary to the board earlier today. So I've sent a sample, or a draft set of questions to the board. My understanding is the board has discussed that we'll go through. I'll ask the questions, just to keep the process going, as I did with the CFO process recently. And but it doesn't mean I'm controlling the questions, or if you have follow-up questions, if you have additional questions you want to ask anytime, that's this is your interview. I'm just here to assist with the process. Feel free to ask any questions during the process. So that will be the process for next week. So I sent along again draft questions for you to review. These tend to work. They get to the various areas. We'll start with an introduction. Leadership management, we'll talk about finances, personnel management, economic development, communication, conflict resolution, board relationship. So we'll go through the various areas that you need in a good town administrator as we go through the process. And then my understanding is you have a meeting also set for Tuesday at 4:30. I'm not sure where.
You're gonna change time on that.
You're gonna change the time.
You're gonna change
Okay.
time on that, yeah.
We wanted to talk, if we could, just about the awkwardness of an interview where we have to publicly discuss about the candidates.
Yes.
It's open meeting laws and.
Open meeting law, so this happens in every situation. I will make a statement next week when you're ready, but I stay here that, I asked the board to, when you get into the discussion point, stick to the positive, discussions in each of the candidates. I mean, you've got four people who are putting themselves out, their names are out there now. Since I just mentioned them, so they are public names at this point. And we do this on our, we're a part of, sitting in the audience watching boards, and this is done on a very regular basis. So you go through and you talk about which candidate you think, is going to be the best fit for your community, what you liked about, a particular candidate. It's different in every community we go through as to how discussion moves forward. But it's up to you to highlight, who you think is, would make best candidate for the fit. I think you got all four candidates who can do this job, in this community. It's up to you to determine which is that best fit.
You and I believe we discussed, you said it's about 50-50, the boards that make decisions that night, or.
Yeah, I think it's more than 50%, I don't have, we've never tracked this, but I
But
believe
it's not uncommon to wait a day.
it's not uncommon. We recommend, please don't wait a week, get it done, in the same week,
Right.
situation. But I'd say, I don't know, if I take it off the top of my head, 60% of our boards, make a decision the night of the discussion or the interview, and the rest, decide, they like to mull it over and think about it overnight. Sometimes, the candidate hits all the board members the same way, and it's like, oof, we've got our choice.
Yeah.
Going forward. That's up to you as to how you, pursue. But again, we ask that you don't, hold this, for a week or two, going forward.
So.
I don't have anything to do.
No, I'm
there's
also,
a few more.
No, I'm good. I've spoken to him.
So for clarity, I'm kind of repeating things we've talked about, but under the open meeting laws, we don't discuss with each other, but we are free to reach out to yourself if we want
Yes.
clarity. Or to Beth.
So again, I'm open to, the phone calls as always, over the next week, if and when reading,
Well, I guess I was thinking more that when we contracted with you, one of the thoughts was when you're asking questions in an interview, you're not always taking the best notes. And this process of you asking questions allows us to be more of an assessor.
Yes,
And to that end, I guess I would say it was. If I were to pose a question to you that night or the next morning, it would be, John, did I hear this? Am I reading this response correctly? If I had a doubt about one candidate over another.
yeah, I'll attempt to have a discussion. It's not my role to, to weigh towards any, but I'll help give some background on the discussion that any one of you are seeking, at that point.
Right, so, one of the things we were talking about was the perception of having a midday meeting. One of the reasons we chose 4:30 was because we thought that any of the employees in the building would want to listen into the discussion. But given Sahan's schedule.
Yeah.
There is availability to do it at noon time, where some employees could listen in to that discussion. Fair to say.
I would think most department heads could come. One thing.
I would think so, yeah.
That
most
manager,
Department
yeah.
heads.
Yeah, noontime is manageable, yes.
As long as.
Yep. Alright, so I'm just. Fair to full disclosure, it's a scheduling thing. You had suggested that most of the individuals would be required to give 60 to 90 days notice to their employer.
It's depends on the individual. It's, if they are, working at this time, that's usually 60 days is the norm.
Yeah.
And I don't pursue this discussion up front, with the candidates, because that's, once a
Yeah.
candidate is appointed, that's between you and a candidate to have that discussion, but the norm is a 60-day notice provision in manager contracts.
So our goal of having someone in place for January 1st would be in line with that, a decision next week.
Yes, a decision next week, and again, after that, then you need to get to a quick contract negotiation. Following that, if you can get the contract negotiation done somewhat quickly, then yes, you're in line for, that type of start date, depending on who you choose.
That's it.
That's what you said. That's what you said, January 1st, but when you originally did this.
Very good, John. Thank you. We'll see you next Monday.
Okay, so next Monday, 4 o'clock here, I'll schedule the 4 candidates. They haven't given a specific time yet, so I'll take care of that tomorrow. And we'll be looking at Tuesday at noontime. For the second discussion. Again, any questions in the meantime, you will all have my phone number. So let me know, this week or beginning next week, and be glad to discuss it. So Beth will get to you the background on each of these candidates with their resumes. And you'll see on the resumes, we do redact personal, the phone numbers. So, yeah.
John, so are you gonna provide me with the times of the, like, we're gonna do everyone at the start of an hour? Is that how is that the plan?
So good question. So typically, we look at 50 minutes to an hour for an actual interview. So if we're starting at 4, with 4 people, I think we can schedule them each, and then if we're running a little late, we're running a little late, and I think the candidates won't mind waiting for a few minutes. So I think we can schedule at 4, 5, 6, and 7, and try to get things done, in that 8 o'clock timeframe. I can toss in 15 minutes halfway through, so we could do a 4 and a 5, and then 6:15 and 7:15. That gives everybody an opportunity for a little bit of a break, so maybe that might be better.
Okay, that sounds good.
For the break piece. People of my age could use a break in the day sometimes, so,
Yeah.
don't mind that.
Yeah.
So, Okay,
you,
so we'll
John.
get that scheduled for next week. Hillary, I'll work with you this week,
Okay,
you know, as to, you know, the names and the time slots. And, so I appreciate, and again, I'm available for discussion at any point between now and, next Monday night. Okay?
Thank
John.
you.
thank you.
Thank you.
For your time.
Next item on the agenda, Beth, is, Deputy Assistant Treasurer Collector.
Yes. We've had movement from the treasurer collector office. Sue Silva moved from her position to the assistant treasurer collector, which opened up her position of the deputy assistant treasurer collector. It's a new name, so I have to try to remember it. We have done numerous interviews and had many people come in. We have selected Christine Mansfield. And I would like to recommend to the board that we appoint her effective this Thursday. She lives in Bellingham and she is very excited. And she has met with Lindsay, who will be her supervisor. And Lindsay is thrilled to be having her come on. So I would appreciate if you would make a recommendation and ratify.
So moved.
Second.
First and seconded, any further discussion? Seeing none, hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Beth. Next up is the Grove Street Standpipe Antenna RFP to Selco Partnership doing business as Verizon. Someone like to
There's a motion on.
question or make a motion that's prepared? for the
Jesse's on
agenda?
there if you guys have any questions.
Anybody? You want me to go?
Yeah, that's fine. Jesse, we're good with this.
Mr. Chairman, I move that the RFQ Grove Street standby antenna lease be awarded to Kelco Partnership DBA Verizon Wireless of Baskin Ridge, New Jersey. So.
First and second, people reading that we get paid annually, paid $55,000 with a 3% escalation and term up to 20 years. So upwards of $1 million to the town of Bellingham. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, none. Next item on the agenda. I asked Hillary to put additional meeting dates for the select board. Given that we are having great discussions for the enterprise accounts, we would generally be meeting the first and third Monday. I asked that we consider putting a second meeting in December. So in addition to already meeting the
4th and 18th.
4th and 18th, so we would add the 11th. I have a flight back on the 4th, so I would either, if I'm not back, zoom in or
Okay,
give a meeting to you.
okay,
But I'm expected 11 to 2 o'clock.
okay.
So I should be fine.
So we have 3 meetings. at the
3
same-
meetings in December, and then we're coming off in November. We've got our 2 plus town
plus town
meeting. I would think that the night of town meeting, we would put in a meeting beforehand in case there's anything to do with FinCom.
Okay.
Community garden rates. We received information on this from Mickey DeFossis regarding a punitive rate. I would
For
use the term.
non-compliant members.
Thank you, non-compliant members.
Mr. Chairman,
Do you have any?
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to follow Mickey's recommendations as to the non-compliant members that she was looking for us to do.
I second.
And first and second, any discussion relative to the impact on the non-compliant members? So. New members would pay the $100 plot fee.
Right.
Non-compliant, which is members that did not actively participate and would pay 125, which is
Yeah.
somewhat punitive. And the plot fee is 40 and 70.
Yep.
As per her email. All those in favor? Opposed, none. We took care of the announcements. Anyone have full business? Anyone have new business? And next week will be, is there a meeting scheduled with town council to go over the warrants? Or is it too early for that? at
It's
this
too
point?
early yet. I was hoping to have the cash numbers.
Yeah.
It's slow yet.
When's our next meeting? We have to do capital.
Monday.
Oh,
Monday.
for capital, you mean? Well, we don't wanna do it Monday, because we're doing the interviews.
I guess I'm wondering whether there's any value to. We had to meet at 3 o'clock to go over the capital so that we could advance it to FinCom and. We gotta get it done at some point.
We ever do. Let's see.
Will
what-
she have the numbers?
Yeah, I
That
was
was
gonna
my,
say that,
my question. Let's wait and see what the status is, if I have numbers.
So
Well,
if we,
yeah, I just have to know by
if we did, we would either
Thursday.
add it after the vote for the.
Okay.
On the 24th or before on the 23rd,
Oh, yeah, you could do it at noon time on Tuesday.
as a follow-up, just to. It's probably a 20-minute discussion, particularly if we can have, I can have discussion.
Unless you wanna add a meeting, another meeting on the 30th.
No.
Tell us now.
That's,
Negotiations for.
Yeah.
Another meeting.
I think we can either, probably tackle it on the 23rd if you have the numbers.
Yeah.
And if you don't, maybe we can take extra 20 minutes on the 24th.
Yeah, I agree with Simon.
Yeah.
That's fine with me.
So to be continued.
Town
Once we
administrator
get
report.
from them.
Yeah, once we have the numbers.
Okay.
It doesn't make any sense.
Okay, so. For those of you who are part of the Power Choice, the mailings went out for the Bellingham Power Choice prices. And they did go down, so that's,
Favorable.
yeah,
Seasonal favorable.
that's very good because it's been outrageous. So that's well underway. The CFO search, yay.
It's done, yay.
And the town administrator search, as I explained, I'll be sending out the resumes before I go home tonight. So that everyone can have them and go over. I haven't even had a chance to read through them yet, but I did glance through them. And it's the format of the resume, the cover letter, and then reference checks are in there where they've got, they pulled research questions and answers of the different residents who were references and everything. So they're on there and there's a lot of different comments. So it looks like it's probably going to be a lot of information for us. So that's that one. Pearl Street. Tim is working on getting that building refurbished. It's been kind of let go for many, many years. So we're looking at making that the new building for the town carpenter, Ronnie Paulus. So Tim, I'll have you update on where you are and what you've done so far.
So I think everybody knows realizes the need for Ronnie Paulus in a department to support a lot of the departments in town, and he's done a really good job with that. So he's been kind of bouncing around to locations to try to, yeah.
Tim, do you
It's
wanna come
been-
sit up here?
Sure.
We can't see you.
So, he's, right now he works out of the recycle center. And he has a small space there and, there's no shortage of projects in town that he, gets involved in. I think everybody probably has seen him
Yeah.
or seen the result of his projects, how it benefits us, to have that in-house. We do have, he does have a helper, right now, Ken, which is he's a really big help for him. So they do all kinds of stuff, whatever's really needed. So he's at the recycle center now and he's just outgrown that spot. He did take over the north fire station for a little while because they kind of grew out of it a little bit or relinquished it to him. But we have this building down on Pearl Street and it was rented out for years, but it's been, I don't know how long it's been vacant. But it's a 4-bay building. It was built for the factory. The factory had it as a shop at one time. It's a brick building. It's a really good building. I think everybody realizes how expensive it is to build buildings. We're in the middle of our building has just been bid out on Depot Street for the DPW. And we kind of got a taste of that, what it costs. So, we're just trying to keep what we have. And so we went in there and cleaned it up. It was vacant for a while, and for a little bit of money, we're getting the thing up and running, and it's gonna be a good thing to have and, to save, so we don't lose it.
Right.
So we're in the middle of that, and we're looking forward to getting that up to, getting it up and running and take it from there. So we're almost there. So
Good spot for him.
yeah, it will be a really good spot. So,
Yeah.
we're getting the heat put back in there. It already had water. It was already plumbed. It was just abandoned and not taken care of for a long time. So we ripped off all the cobwebs and poison ivy and parged up some cracks in the masonry, and it's actually a pretty good building. So it's a good thing to have and save because we're gonna need it. So that's what we're doing.
So that's fun.
Perfect.
Thank you, Tim.
Thanks, Tim.
Wait, before you go,
Yes.
Don't go away.
we've been having, the final topic is we've been having some issues with the fire alarm going off. I don't know if any of you have been through here when there's just been a continual beeping. And we have to call the fire department to come down to reset it for us. So,
Every 12 hours it's going off.
Yeah.
So this is a prank. It's this is the system that we have. Only one company can work with it, and they authorize the repair of it. And right now it's Gamewell. And so the problem that we're having is, so this building is probably almost just about 20 years old right now. 18 years old.
maybe around 15.
I think, yeah,
Older?
okay, but a lot of the devices are failing, and because they don't last forever, so what's happened now is, we have a couple of devices that are failing, and we can't get them. So, we tried, sneaking in a different type of device, same manufacturer, but just a different function, and it recognized it right away and sent the signal back, so we can't do it, we can't use it, so, I'm just getting some bids on to replace. We don't have to rewire the building. It's the devices in the panel. So we want to try to update it, and that's what we're doing. It's kind of a pain because it has to be reset every 12 hours, and it's just because of one smoke detector, and we can't get a replacement for it. They don't have them. Nobody has them. So
Can you get the detector offline?
no, we can't because it's password protected.
Yeah.
It's a real odd situation. Nobody can work on the panel.
Trips the system still.
So we'll take care of it. I'm working on a couple of different options, so. That only affects this building. So.
Any other questions?
No.
For Tim and the buildings and all that fun stuff?
No.
And I'm all set.
Thanks, Tim.
Like with that, we have few small items that would warrant an executive session, so I would entertain a vote on and hold executive session pursuant to general law chapter 38-21A to discuss strategy with respect to contract negotiations with non-union personnel where discussion in open session would undermine the town's negotiating position.
The board to go on to executive session.
Yes.
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 With that, we'll go to executive session with no further comment to follow.
Good
Thank you.
night.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thanks,
Thank
Kim.
you all. Good night, Kim.
Good night.